We continue the broadcast live from Big 12 Football Media Days here in Frisco, Texas. I'm Pat Strathman. Pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Kansas State Wildcats, Collin Klein. Coach, welcome to Frisco. Here you are as the head coach of the Cats, gearing up for the 2026 season. How has summer gone for Coach Klein and the Wildcats?
It's been good. We had a good 4-week training cycle in June. A lot of recruiting stuff, a lot of people through the building. So that was a lot of fun, and been able to get away with the family the last couple of weeks. So it's been a good summer.
Yeah, good time. I also took off some time last week, so you gotta take it now.
Yeah.
If you don't take it now, you're never going to get it, right?
That's
so
it.
good idea for sure. Well, certainly a lot of excitement going into this 2026 season. Before we talk about the team itself, I kind of wanted to just pick your brain on just college football as a whole. Certainly the Big 12 as a whole has been getting a lot of attention over the last couple of weeks. Doesn't necessarily include Kansas State, but a lot of attention there. But of course, overall, for just college athletics, college football, the 5-5 rule, that's a little bit different as well. Just your overall viewpoint of college football as it stands as you go into your, the first official year of you leading the Cats on the sidelines.
Yeah, that's a big question there. You put a lot in there.
So I know.
I'll see if
I'm just trying to cover all of that.
Yeah. How much time we got?
Yeah.
No, I think starting with just the conference itself, I think it's an incredibly exciting league. When you look at the record amount of draft picks, you look at the margin of victory, the number of one-score games. It's a wide-open league. It's the margins are thin, and an exciting level of play for sure. I think there's that piece. I think the 5-for-5, I think is a great thing. I think opportunities to play and compete for our players with all the roster building, transition, volatility on a year-to-year basis. I think giving guys an opportunity to get on the field without, getting penalized, I think is a great thing. I think it's great for programs. I think it's great for players. So really, really excited about that. I'm really excited about, again, what we're going to be able to do at Kansas State over the next, few years here and our piece in this league and on the national stage.
Well, you brought it up as we talked about the 5-for-5. Have you had much conversation with guys already about that?
I mean, it's something that not individually from a player standpoint,
sure.
Like they need to be where their feet are,
yeah.
right? And they need to be focused on getting their body right, getting their mind right, learning offense and defense and getting ready to compete. Obviously myself, our general manager and all of us coaches, just because of the ramifications of that and what that means from a spot standpoint, a depth chart standpoint, and time's moving fast. December, January is going to be here quick. So yes, we are factoring that into our calculations, but at the end of the day, we got to put our head down and work on getting ready to play this season.
Well, you and Avery Johnson, quarterback of the K-State Wildcats, former Mace Eagle. Of course, a lot of people in Wichita excited about what he can bring to the table here for 2026. But certainly a big part of why Avery Johnson chose Kansas State was Coach Collin Klein, who was a part of that conversation. He then left. Now you're back. Any noticeable differences with Avery Johnson since you left and now come back and get a chance to work with them a little bit more closely?
Well, I think there's no substitute for experience and having the amount of starts that he has under his belt now compared to when we were together a couple of years ago, I think is tremendous, and it shows. He has always been an elite competitor. He's always prepared extremely well. Even when he came in as a true freshman, one of, if not the fastest to pick up our offense and be in a position to play because of how hard he studied and worked in that film room. And so I think you compound that over now a couple of years. He hasn't changed, and he was up there all the time, and we've been able to spend time together. And I think working through the spring, working through the summer are continuing to make gains of being able to get on the same page and get ready to make this run.
Yeah, wide receiver room, missing Jason Brown from last year. Avery and Jace certainly had a great connection. You got a chance to kind of see what Avery was like with some of the wide receivers. I'm not going to ask you who he favors as of right now, because right now the answer is
the
probably
open one. The
yeah,
open one.
that's it. There you go. That's a perfect response.
Yeah.
But it's certainly big to have quarterback and wide receiver to have that bond. Just take me through that process and how successful I guess it was maybe this past spring ball.
Yeah, I think obviously we knew we had to rebuild the receiver room. And there's so much that goes into throwing the football, how you want to throw it, and at the level of efficiency that you need. And it kind of goes in phases, right? Whereas like, hey, those first 2 or 3 practices, the spacing and the timing is not what you want. And the pictures, you're not getting the pictures that it would go. And then all of a sudden, practice 4, 5, and 6, the spacing starts getting better, and you miss some throws, and then you're working on protection and putting in all the different play action stuff that you're able to do. And so then, that's the beauty of it. There's so much that goes into it. I think watching all 3 phases be able to improve and get on the same page through the spring and even into the summer, it's excited that, with the trajectory that we're on and where we're going with it.
Yeah, I know the wide receiver room, certainly a lot of people wondering how that's going to gel, but tight end wise, I mean, everyone's kind of forgetting. You have Garrett Oakley, who's coming back. I know he's recovering, but Lincoln Cure, I'm sure he's ready to take this big step as a sophomore compared to being a freshman last year. Then you have Will Ancio, another Wichita boy, who'll be a part of the conversation as well. That tight end room to have that type of stability, that's got to be kind of nice as well as you try to work in these new wide receivers to get them kind of acclimated. At least you got some continuity there in the tight end room.
No, I mean it's probably as deep a tight end room as there is in the country, and their versatility, their talent, ball skills, understanding the run game, and what they allow us to do schematically is big time. And so I think how they and the other part with the reps piece, I mean, Will Ancio and Lincoln Cure got a ton of reps this spring, which was really, really cool, and watching their development and growth through the spring. So definitely going to be a huge part of our offense.
I remember last time I talked to you, the one thing you really stressed on was being more physical in the trenches and in attacking. It's nice to have a preseason All-Big 12 guy in Pastor who's coming back. So that's a big piece there, but certainly that's just the tip of the iceberg. You want the entire offensive line to move in unison. I know George Fitzpatrick, it's one of those guys, how well is he going to fit in, how well he's progressing. What do you see from your offensive line? Of course, it's spring ball, right? Like, there's only so much as an offensive lineman that you could potentially do. Yes, you're going to get those reps, but it's a little bit different in spring ball. But once you get the fall camp, then that's when things get really interesting. So what are some of the things you learned about the offensive line in spring ball?
Yeah, I think really excited about the pieces and the development trajectory that a lot of those guys are on. We really believe in cross-training a lot of those guys. So there's a lot of guys taking left guard snaps, right tackle snaps, center right guard snaps, and mixing guys around to build a bank of reps and depth to ultimately build it to where we find, okay, who are the right 5? Where do those 5 work best together? And then where do we go from there? Coach Smith's done an absolutely tremendous job of instilling that mentality, instilling that motor, while building the depth schematically and fundamentally for us to be able to execute and run the football. The offensive line is the heartbeat of our team. They're the tip of the spear. And so really excited about where that group is headed. Who are the first 5 that go out there September 5th?
Sure.
We'll see. But I think also having the depth of competition at the spots that we do bodes well.
Well, I think everyone knows about your background, being a former player, a guy who can certainly pass, but you were also well known for running the football as well. Avery Johnson's got some legs on him. You have Joe Jackson, and I think the running back room just overall is probably looking pretty good as well. You don't have to tip your hand like schematically. I'm not going to ask about schematics as of right now because I don't want to give anyone an edge. Not like anyone's going to be paying attention to ESPN Wichita to get some tips, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone's watching. I don't know. But as you take a look at the rushing attack, how do you go about trying to have that balance of running and passing, but certainly rushing wise, it's hard not to see what you have on paper and go, man, we can run the football quite a bit here with these guys.
Yeah, no, I think obviously Joe really felt his confidence grow the last half of last season, and I think that was very evident. Bringing in 2 transfers with Jay Harris and Rodney Fields, how that group is gelled has been really, really good. And they know that they have to work together. You're not going to make it through a season with just one tailback. And so being able to let those guys compete, turn them loose and on people and allow them to compete for those carries, it's going to be exciting to watch.
And then from just an Avery Johnson perspective, how you go about balancing that, I suppose. I mean, he is a senior after all, so now's the time to go out there and run. But certainly, you're trying to protect him as much as you possibly can. I haven't had a chance to really kind of see him in terms of. I haven't felt his arms or his legs or anything like that, so I'm not sure how he's looking. But I'm sure he's probably put on a few pounds of muscle.
He had a good winter, and he's having a really good summer. I think the biggest thing on that, and I'll say this too, because it's funny you say that, because sometimes people think I only love to run the ball because that's what I did a lot, but it's about attacking the defense, right? And I think the mindset of, like, if you start trying to micromanage the game too much as a player or a coach and say, oh, we can only run him this many times, or you can't, do this, or you kind of build these fake barriers even in your own team that aren't real. And it's like, no, what do we have to do to win this drive, this play, this game? And even as a player, that frees you up to where, hey, he may run it 3 times this game. He may run it 12 times the next game. Did we perfectly manufacture that? No. Did we have no? It's like, no, we did what we had to do, and he is doing and taking what the defense gives him, which is also going to probably keep him healthier down the stretch too, regardless of what that number happens to be.
Yeah. Well, we spent a lot of time talking about the offense. We haven't spent a single moment talking about the defense here with Collin, Klein, head coach of the K-State Wildcats. I think probably starting up front with the defensive line, how has Wendell Gregory adjusted, becoming a K-State Wildcat, certainly losing some great pass rushing pieces in Toby Osasami and Chidi Obiizor, but you bring in Wendell Gregory, and there's no doubt his success that he had in the Big 12 already. How well has he gelled in with the unit there up front on the defensive line?
No, it's been fun to watch. I think we've got a lot of competition at edge, and that's a really, really good thing, and it's going to make them all better and be able to keep those guys fresh through the course of a game and through the course of a season. And as a quarterback guy, there's nothing that covers wide receivers better than pass rush.
Wendell's, and the quarterback fears more than a good pass rush.
No, exactly. And so, but those guys have worked tremendously hard. I know Buddy Wyatt has done an absolute great job with those guys and how they're competing and getting better on a week in and week out basis. So excited to see him get to work.
And certainly a lot of new faces in the secondary as well. Anyone stand out over the course of spring ball in secondary?
I think Zayshawn, we knew he was talented. We knew he could play. I think even watching his progression and get comfortable with the schematics of what we were doing, play fast, react fast, and get acclimated to, again, Coach Peterson and what we're doing on defense. So I think there's a handful of names that'll pop back there. Okay,
well, looking forward to seeing that develop. And, of course, linebacker-wise, also looking forward to that as well. In order for Kansas State to have a successful Big 12 2026 campaign, actually just overall 2026 season, let's be real. I know we're focusing on the Big 12, and yes, that's the goal, but just overall, to have a good season, what must happen for the Kansas State Wildcats in 2026?
Well, I think first and foremost, we got to protect the football, right? And that's it's every game almost goes without saying. We're going to be really, really good on special teams. We're going to be good in situational football, and then we're going to finish and play harder than everyone we play.
Yeah. Well, easy stuff. Coach, appreciate your time as always. Best of luck to you here for 2026.
All right. Thank you.